Hello, and welcome to yet another module on domains of Agile practices. In this video, we will talk about continuous improvement as another domain. On most traditional projects, lessons learned are compiled at the end of the project so they can be applied to future projects. However, applying lessons to future projects does not add value to the current project. Future projects may not be similar to past projects. Therefore, Agile aims to continuously learn during each project and apply lessons learned within the current project. We will discuss some tools, techniques, knowledge sets, and skills which can continuously improve Agile projects. Let's begin with retrospectives. Retrospectives are meetings that happen at the end of each iteration. Team members share lessons learned so they can be applied during the next iteration. Retrospective sessions are typically split into 5 segments. The first is setting the stage. Here, a stage is set where participants are encouraged to communicate. A clear agenda is set for the discussion. In setting the stage, each team member is made aware of his or her responsibilities and attitudes in a retrospective, which are check-in, focus on, off, ESVP, short for explorer, shopper, vacationer, and prisoner, and working agreements. The next segment is gathering data. In this segment, data is compiled regarding what happened during the iteration. Team members should have a common vision about the things they would like to change or improve. Activities such as timeline, triple nickels, satisfaction histogram, team radar, color code dots, and like to like can be used to gather data. The third segment is generating insights. Once the data is gathered, examine them for insights. Activities that can help us generate insights include brainstorming, fishbone, identifying themes, and 5 whys. Deciding on a course of action is the next segment. Based on the insights, team members plan how they will act differently on the next iteration. Activities such as short subjects, circle of questions, SMART goals, and retrospective planning games can be used to create an action plan. In the final segment, team members show appreciation for each other and summarize the changes they are going to include going forward. Activities that can be used to close the retrospective are return on the time invested, appreciations, delta, and helped hindered hypotheses. Now let's look at knowledge sharing. Agile projects are optimized for knowledge sharing to occur. For example, team members share information during product demonstrations, daily stand-up meetings, task boards, and team co-location. As important as knowledge sharing is for Agile projects, it might not occur as frequently as desired because the reward system may not have been programmed to incentivize knowledge sharing. It is easy to track an individual's performance and reward it, but this may not increase a team's overall performance. Thus, it is important that the tracking and reward system is based on team performance. Sometimes Agile methodologies are tailored to suit a project. Radical changes and strict adherence to methodologies might seem like extreme approaches because each project brings its own requirements and there are risks associated with both. Different Agile practices are interrelated. It is important to understand this before altering an Agile practice. Further, any modification to Agile methods should be preceded by thoroughly understanding the environments in which they work. Requirements of a project and the technology used to deliver them might increase the complexity of projects. Let's move on to process analysis. Process analysis involves examining and identifying any issues in Agile methodologies or in any modifications. Alistair Cockburn suggested a list of patterns, characteristics, and thinking that might adversely impact methodologies. Each project varies in size and might call for different methodologies to be adopted. There is no one-size-fits-all approach. Rules for adherence should not be imposed and must be chosen by the teams themselves. A little leeway should be provided for teams to function. Methodologies that are made heavy by adding practices and artifacts may not necessarily improve the success rate. Methodologies may get embellished over time, but additions might contain errors. It is better to modify or reuse methodologies and make additions only when necessary, rather than experimenting with untried methodologies. Methodologies that have been used only once do not ensure success. It might be necessary at times to modify Agile practices and adapt to new and emerging practices. However, before augmenting any practice, it is important to consider if there is a problem or a root cause that needs to be resolved, and whether the problem really requires adapting a new approach or can be fixed in another way. New approaches should be investigated for their claims. They should also be examined for any side effects. A new approach should be vetted for a few iterations before it is implemented on the entire project. Continuous improvement is an integral part of Agile projects and occurs throughout the project. The process of development is continuously refined and improved by following the cycle of plan, develop, evaluate, and learn. As process improvement continues, the product improves and evolves too. Feedback from customers obtained from delivering increments shape the product and allow it to improve continuously. And finally, it is just as important to assess people as it is to assess development processes and the products. Self-directing teams need to self-assess their performance at regular intervals. James Shore's self-assessment quiz, which evaluates performance in categories like thinking, planning, working in partnership, developing, and releasing, is a good way to evaluate the team's performance. After scoring each answer on a scale of 1 to 100, the results are plotted on a spider graph. That brings us to the end of this module. Thank you for learning with us.